They have the IQ of Einstein, the creativity of Da Vinci, and the vocabulary to argue themselves out of any corner. So why can't they send that email? Why is their masterpiece still in the drafts folder? Here's what nobody tells you. Brilliance, left unchecked, can become a prison. Today we're unraveling why some of the smartest people you know, and maybe even you, keep making excuses that sound intelligent but sabotage their potential. And by the end, you'll see why the smarter you are, the more dangerous your excuses become. There's a peculiar kind of suffering reserved for the gifted, not the obvious kind. It's subtle, quiet. It hides behind eloquent rationalizations and elaborate reasoning. Psychologists call this phenomenon self-handicapping, the act of creating obstacles to avoid the possibility of failure. But for smart people, it takes a special form, sophisticated self-handicapping. They don't say, "I didn't have time." They say, "The market conditions aren't conducive." They say, "I'm iterating on the core framework before execution." They say, "It has to be original and nothing feels quite right yet." It's genius as an alibi. Leonardo da Vinci, the original Renaissance polymath, left dozens of works unfinished. The Battle of Anghiari, a project he was paid for and praised for before he even began, was never completed. Why? Historians like Walter Isaacson argue it was a combination of perfectionism and fear that the final result would not live up to the divine ideal in his mind. Sound familiar? I once knew a software engineer. He was brilliant, multiple job offers from big tech. But he spent 3 years researching his startup idea. Endless whiteboard sketches, new prototypes, pivots, market analyses. The launch never happened. Turns out the plan wasn't to build a company. The plan was to protect the illusion that he could build one. Because starting might shatter the myth. History is littered with unrealized genius. Take Samuel Taylor Coleridge. A poet and philosopher, he conceived ideas that could have rivaled Shakespeare. But he left most of his work in fragments. He once wrote, "I have overdreamt myself. My mind has been too much in the future." This isn't laziness, it's cognitive dissonance. It's the unbearable gap between the image of who they believe they should be and the reality that action might prove them merely human. Carol Dweck's concept of the fixed mindset explains this well. People praised for being smart often avoid challenges that might threaten that identity. They'd rather not try than try and risk being ordinary. And here's the irony. The fear of mediocrity guarantees mediocrity. So let me ask you this. Have you ever delayed something important, not because you were lazy, but because you were secretly afraid it wouldn't live up to what others expect from you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your version of this dance. Here's the dark magic of being smart. Your excuses get better with you. The smarter you are, the more you can intellectualize your fear. You write an essay instead of an email. You redesign your website instead of reaching out to your first client. You can out-logic the truth, and the truth is, you're scared. Now, contrast that with someone I call a pragmatic achiever. Think of Thomas Edison, not a natural genius by most accounts, but the man shipped. He once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." He gave himself permission to fail forward. So, how do we break the genius trap? Let's talk solutions. Solution 1. The scheduled failure slot. Deliberately block time every week to do something you'll probably be bad at. Not to win, but to fail. Start learning a musical instrument. Paint a terrible self-portrait. Why? Because it conditions your brain to decouple self-worth from performance. I do this every Thursday, my humbling hour. Last week I tried ballet, alone, in my living room. It was awful. I laughed so hard at how terrible my balance was. But guess what? Every Thursday my balancing got a little better. Expecting failure and just doing somehow was making me better. It was freeing. Solution 2. The one sticky note mandate. When you're overthinking, reduce the next step to what fits on a single sticky note. Not the 5-year roadmap. Just email Maria the pitch deck. That's it. It bypasses the brain's need for mastery and replaces it with momentum. Because no one finishes a mountain. They finish a single step 100 times. Finally, solution 3. The seek the dumb question protocol. When you do create something, ask a friend. What's the dumbest or most obvious question you have about this? It reframes feedback as a search for clarity gaps, not a judgment of intelligence. Dumb questions often reveal fundamental flaws or unaddressed assumptions that a smart person might overlook. It also disarms their fear of looking stupid because they are inviting basic scrutiny. You disarm the ego and open the door to real feedback. The goal isn't to be brilliant, it's to be clear. So why do smart people make dumb excuses? Because in their brilliance, every excuse becomes a shield against failure, against judgment, against themselves. But the genius who wins isn't the one with the most perfect ideas. It's the one who dares to ship, to fail, and to be seen trying. You're not here to protect your potential. You're here to use it. And if you ever needed a sign to do that, this is it. If you liked this dive into human psychology through history, please consider liking and subscribing for more videos like this. Thanks for watching Historic Psychology, and I'll see you on the next one.